podium because I know I'm terrible at holding microphones close to my face. Maybe this way you'll all actually be able to hear me the entire time, if I can figure it out. All right, so as mentioned, I'm from California. My parents live in Woodland, California there, and I had hopes of working with an organization here in Moscow, but as a college student, leaving for the summer kind of puts a damper on volunteering sometime before August 1st. So I ended up working with Habitat for Humanity in my parents' community. The houses, there's actually a duplex. It's literally in my parents' subdivision. It took me about 5 minutes to bike there. And so I made the commitment to kind of try and do something to reduce poverty and homelessness. And I learned actually quite a few things through the process. The first, when I was working with an organization here in Moscow, is that sometimes with scheduling and like having finals week and moving for the summer, it's not always feasible to volunteer where you'd like to volunteer. And that was really unfortunate, but I was able to actually continue volunteering after I got back. So that was pretty cool. But the second thing I really learned, well, it actually had nothing to do with construction. I thought that I would go and I would learn construction. I actually ended up putting in a sprinkler system, and I've done that before. And so it was pretty cool because I thought I was going to go and learn how to like do something on houses. And I guess it's that you can use whatever skill sets you have. And the third is actually kind of more about my future. I want to be a volunteer coordinator. I want to work with people. And so in working with this organization, it's a pretty small Habitat chapter. They build about 2 houses a year. And so in this year, they're doing the duplex. And it wasn't, I worked with, I think, 6 different Habitat affiliates across the US. And unfortunately, it actually wasn't probably one of the better experiences I've had. There was just a lot going on with the board of directors and with the volunteer coordinator, and I kind of accidentally got caught in the middle of it because I had 2 ears and I was willing to listen. And so I guess what I kind of learned from it was how to, things to consider in the future when I'm working with organizations and when I'm organizing volunteers, kind of to try and be as neutral as possible when you're dealing with maybe a volunteer who's never worked with your organization before. I actually, one of my friends called during lunch, and I was just like so happy to get away from it because I like felt like everyone needed to share their story with me. And so I'm actually really happy because I know that they finished the houses, and I met one of the families that day while I was there, and my dad drives by it every day on his way to the grocery store, and he says the houses are great and the people are living there. And so that was definitely a success, and I'm glad that they have sprinklers in their backyard. But I think that the bigger lessons for me were actually pretty related to the Finding the Center trainings. Katara McClure talks about community organizing and the importance of citizenship, cultural competency, and commitment. And one of her big things is if something matters to us, we have to show others why it matters. And the organization I was working with really kind of was lacking in that department. Luckily, it's something that matters to me, and so I didn't go home at lunch after feeling really frustrated. I, kept digging and burying and pipe welding and all sorts of things. And then the second thing of that, Paul Wesselman talked about interpersonal effectiveness. And so I guess really just that tied in a lot, looking at how important it is to really be able to communicate with folks. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you all.